Welcome back to All Hitches, Nova's #1 football podcast, award-winning football podcast. Coach Mesa, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing well. Just getting my way through the second half of the school year. You know, it's always the second half of school year is always tougher than the first half of the school year.
But makes things a lot easier is being off several days after winter break because of snow. That makes things a lot easier.
It does. Let's ease back in. I saw something where there was a principal who said that he felt like the day after winter break, the first day back should be a student-free day. Should be a chance for teachers to come in, do meetings, and get themselves kind of prepared for when students come back.
You know what? I think that's a great idea, and I'm not just saying that because for the obvious reasons. I think it's real, right? I know it's 2 weeks and not 2 months, like summer break.
Yeah,
but still, right? Think about summer break. I mean, you get those 5 days back, kind of feeling your way through it again. And you're right. I think it would be nice coming back from a long break, especially a 2-week break, to kind of get back into the group.
Kind of get yourself back.
I agree.
You know, just kind of get yourself prepared for the week. You know, you have access to the school a lot, so yeah.
Now, you know what's been used a lot and going to be used a lot in this house over the next few days and probably week, because of these cold weathers, nothing's going to melt. Santa got a sled from one of my kids this year, and that was a smart. Santa was thinking ahead, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. For the few days of the year it snows here in Virginia. When I moved here, I thought for sure I was going to get snow all the time. When I moved here, and I found out that's not the case.
Well, son, you watch too much TV. You know, you were thinking, Northeast, DC.
Yeah,
I've seen the movies. There's always snow on the ground. No, not here, buddy. We now it's just like a weird black hole when it comes to snow.
The other kind of season we're in right now is recruiting season. And our guest today is a Division III head coach, and I think that there's this big focus on, especially kids think big names, right? I've got to play for Alabama. I've got to play for Notre Dame. And there's a lot of colleges out there that you can play for, that you can play college football for. And we're gonna speak to quite a few coaches coming up. We're gonna kind of help explain how college football has changed so much due to all the different rule changes to the NC2A. And these next few interviews we're gonna have on coming in the next few weeks is really gonna kind of express, for those of you parents out there, because there are parents who didn't play college football. I didn't play college football. The closest I was saying, getting ready to play a little JUCO football. I kind of explained kind of what the recruiting process is like, things you should and think you should and should not be doing. So, it's a coach that you know really well.
Yeah, Coach Luvara from Hampden-Sydney College over in Farmville, Virginia, about an hour from Richmond, sort of. Hour west. I don't know all the geography, but a good school, good academics. We learned a lot about the school actually in the interview, in terms of how good the academics are and that kind of thing. Solid football program, solid sports all around in the ODAC, right? And Coach LeVar was a longtime D coordinator under Coach Sirianni, at Washington Jefferson. Yeah. He recruited my son to Washington Jefferson, so that's how I kind of knew, Coach LeVar a little bit. And then he got hired a few months later to Hampden-Sydney, and where he just finished his first year, solid first year, and kind of building. He knows this area really well. I think you and I were both pretty impressed by how well he knew the schools and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But this was his recruiting area, so it was part of his job,
right?
To learn
right,
and he knows it pretty well.
But kind of breaking down a lot of things we've been talking about, things that that have been going on in terms of a lot of the rule changes. Now you're seeing the JUCO rule changes, which we'll get into down the road with some JUCO coaches. But a lot of this is impacting. It's just this trickle down effect, and it really is impacting the Division III football.
Yeah, and he's really candid with a lot of stuff he talks about in the interview.
Yeah, I think parents, obviously students, prospective collegiate players at all levels, and even coaches, high school coaches, will get a lot out of this interview and all these interviews we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, sit tight and enjoy this interview that we conducted with Coach Vince Luvara from Hampden-Sydney College. All right. We want to welcome Coach Luvara, head coach of Hampden-Sydney, joining us today. Longtime coach at Washington Jefferson is the DC under Coach Sirianni, was out at Allegheny, was at Misericordia, and again now at Hampden-Sydney, finishing up his first year as a head coach. Congrats on your first season, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for joining us today. So, Coach, we were sitting here talking, before you joined us, just talking about, the different, areas. And I know you guys are in Virginia, obviously we're in Northern Virginia. And one of the first things that a lot of, kids and parents have asked us, how much of your recruiting, do you think is state of Virginia based?
Yeah, I mean, we recruit Virginia pretty hard, obviously. We want to, be good at getting kids in our backyard. Like Richmond, obviously, is a really important area for us. Northern Virginia is a really important area for us. Lynchburg, Roanoke, Salem area is a really important area for us. And the 757 is a really important area for us. So we really focus on, recruiting in state. Like all four of our full-time coaches split up Richmond. We have a full-time coach in Northern Virginia. We put a full-time coach in the 757. So we're really focused on this area, but we will go, wherever we need to go to get a kid too.
So, a lot of the kids out there really, really want to know because, in reality, most parents, most kids don't know how the recruiting process works.
Sure.
What are some of the best ways the things they can do in order to try to get your attention, kind of get you noticed?
Yeah, I mean, every school's different. So, I mean, I'm sure every school has a different process. For us, you got to fill out a recruiting questionnaire. If you don't do that, we're not going to watch your film. Because you get so much, like on Twitter now or X, whatever you want to call it nowadays, you get so many DMs from kids, and they're just like a lot of them, to be honest with you, the way they approach it, it seems like they're just chasing an offer that they can post on their Twitter. And it's like, okay, man, well, if you're really serious, you'll take 3 minutes, you'll fill out this recruiting questionnaire, you put your huddle link in there. That also gets sent over to our missions. So like they know, okay, this is a football recruit coming in through here, and then we'll evaluate it. And we do a 2-step process, how we evaluate it. So the area coach will evaluate the film first. So you fill out the recruiting questionnaire, it actually gets sent to your area coach. He'll rate it first, and then the position coach or I will give the second grading on it. And then if it hits a certain number, how it comes out through our system, it automatically is calculated based off your position. Then, we'll recruit guys that fit, that threshold number.
And I know, at W&J, you were the recruiting coordinator for Nova for quite a few years, right?
Yeah. When I got there, what year was that? 2015, I think. Coach Sirianni was just like, hey, can you recruit Maryland and Northern Virginia? And I was just like, yeah, sure. And we had a guy that he used for a while, Justin Kavanaugh, who did the strength stuff in Northern Virginia, that he worked with Coach Sirianni before I got there doing like their strength and conditioning stuff. So he just kind of set me down and said, like, go see Cav. He'll kind of set you up with some kids. And like, it's a funny story because I was in Chantilly a couple of weeks ago and talking to Coach Curry, and Jason Raleigh's on his staff, who was old head coach at Oakton. I remember I went down to Northern Virginia, and Oakton was my first school, and I had no clue what I was doing there, like no clue where I was going. And Coach Raleigh like grabbed my sheet and was like, "Where are you going?" He like looked at it and he like circled it, like, "No, don't go here, go here." And he really helped me out, and I still talk about it like every time because I was like lost. I was like 20 some years old and had no clue what I was doing. And there's so many kids and schools in Fairfax and Loudoun County, and you're just trying to like keep your head above water and go like to the good schools, and some of them are still playing. And but without him, I would have been like swimming. I would have probably wasted time there.
It's actually a good point you bring up. You talk about the good schools, and something that Dan and I were talking about earlier. Is that something that you guys look at, like, because we battle that with kids a lot, right? As coaches and at the high school level, coach, I think I'm going to go to this school because, they have 3 more wins than you guys did. And I'm going to try and transfer that. So I'll get seen more over there. Is that something that you guys look at?
No, not really. But like when like you're a school like W&J and you're coming 4 or 5 hours away, like you got to wait. You got to go to places where you know you're going to get volume too. So like you don't want to waste your time unless there's a certain kid that's interested from that school, But for us, like we're in every school. We're gonna spend time in like in the spring going through and visiting every school in that area and state. And then when we come back in the fall, like if we went in the spring and the coach is like, I don't have a senior for you this year. Like we're not going to waste time going back in the fall, but in the spring, we're going to have boots on the ground in every school. We're going to try to be in every school in Virginia, and sometimes they'll tell you, hey, don't stop by. I don't have anyone for you, but we'll try, to get in every school.
So you're talking about the questionnaire. Will it make a difference? So let's say you are coming in. Let's say you were coming in from WG or something like that. But if you had a few students who did fill out a questionnaire that you took out that you saw, would you be more likely to go over to that school because you already have some intel on them already?
Yeah, in the fall. In the spring, like I said, we're going to go to every school in state that we can. But in the spring, yeah, it helps a lot because like when we go into school, like we know who the kid is. So like we'll have a grade on them, all that stuff, and we'll be like, okay, this kid fits, this kid doesn't. We'll know their academic background, like do they fit us academically, and all that kind of stuff.
So what about camp? Do you guys? So one, do you guys hold a camp? And two, do you find that being helpful to you when you're evaluating? I mean, what's your opinion on as far as local camps and the mega camps and all those things?
We don't, and I don't like. I think at Division III level, if you're holding a camp, you're just trying to get $50 off a kid. And I know that's going to be controversial. We do individual visits. So we had 150 individual visits this summer. Kids came up in June, July, and even some in May, and they came around and, they went through an individual day visit with our admissions. So they went on a campus tour. They did an admissions interview, and our admissions does it a little different. Like part of your tour is your admissions interview. And so they can get to know you. Our football coach toured you around our athletic facilities, and I met with every kid that visited this summer one-on-one. Oh, wow. I think that's more value because some of these kids are coming from far away, and I don't want to waste their time. So like we don't do the big junior day thing. Again, we think they're counterproductive. You got 50 guys coming in, and you're just shuffling them through, to try to get numbers on campus. We want quality visits. Like if you're going to take the time to come visit us, we're going to give you the time, to visit, on the visit. And I don't think, if the head coach doesn't meet with you on your visit, how important was the visit for you? So if you're going to take the time, if we're going to invite you to campus, like we want to spend quality time with you. I'm not saying like that other model doesn't work for other people. That's what works for us. We want guys that want to be here. I can hold a camping, get money off a kid, but like we don't have a scholarship at Division III. So like if a kid runs a 4.5 at a camp, like great. Like as much as I want them, I still got to wait for some of the other schools to kind of decide if they want them first.
Those individual visits, are those you're inviting them to there, or are they reaching out to you to come and visit the campus?
Some of both. Like we'll invite, like, so we spent, like also like how we did it last year is we sent all our coaches on the road in May for like 3 or 4 weeks. We had kids fill out the recruiting questionnaire and we started evaluating the kids. And then once they, again, hit that certain number, we sent out individual invites and, we sent out the offer and individual invites through the summer. And we would, get them to campus and, just kind of go from there. So for us, it was really beneficial because we've had kids now that have come up for summer visit, have come to 1, maybe 2 game visits this fall, did our December official overnight visit. And so they've been on campus 3 or 4 times and, they're accepted, they have financial aid and they're ready to make a decision. We're just kind of waiting on other schools' financial aid to see if it fits at this point. But it's really beneficial to us. And I think it's going to help us, moving forward with our cycle being a little bit quicker.
All right. So let me ask you this, Coach. Nova, what, and again, you're naming coaches, you're naming schools, so you know this area really well after all these years recruiting this area. What are some of the characteristics? Why do you like Nova? Why Nova kids?
I think the football's good. At the end of the day, they're coached well. It's important at the end of the day, and you get a kid that's like ready to play college football. And there's a ton of people in the area too, so the competition, is great no matter where they go. And I don't know, you see it, it translates well. There's a lot of schools, which helps too, because if you need to find a lineman, there's a school up there that has one. You need to find a DB. So and it's growing. It's a growing area. I mean, a couple of years ago, I think it had the highest 4-year graduation rate in the country. A lot of that has to do with all the government jobs and stuff that are popping up in the area. But there's a time there's a new high school, I swear, popping up every week. So there's so much volume of kids in that area too.
So when
Yeah,
you're
go ahead.
go ahead, Dash.
No, you got. Oh, I was just going to ask you because you mentioned earlier. I mean, having to cover, so you have one coach covering all this area because this is a ridiculously big area.
Yeah, he spends about 3 to 4 weeks in there. So I was up there. I spent 2 days with him a couple weeks ago in December. We visit some schools during the day, and then we'd home visit some kids at night. And but we have an idea of how we want to do it. But we can get it done in about 4 weeks. I mean, you go to anywhere from 5 to 7 schools a day, and then you go to a practice or something like that.
And you got Loudon, Prince William, Fairfax, and I'm not even talking about the Maryland part, right? Maryland, DC part.
We have a different coach that does DC, Maryland. So it works out pretty well. But the schools are close to each other too, which helps because it's not like one county schools like it is in some parts of Virginia. So you can get like 5 minutes from a school to school in some areas too. So.
Good point. That's it. See, I'm born and raised here. Mason's he's a Long Beach guy. So he's like, dude, why are your schools like 3 minutes away from each other?
Yeah. Isn't like Paul VI and John Champ like share a parking lot now or something?
That's crazy. I mean, like look at Woodson, Braddock, Robinson, and Fairfax High School. Those 4 schools. To your point, you're right. You can knock out 4 schools, and they're like 3 minutes apart from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're evaluating kids, obviously you're looking at physical aspects. At the end of the day, can they play? But when you're looking at academics and character, like how do you evaluate those two things on a kid? I mean, how big are they on your list? Especially at the D level.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like we consider ourselves an elite academic institution, so it's not easy to graduate from here. I mean, it's hard, and we don't shy away from that. And so you have to fit us academically. And our missions people do a great job. They look at every aspect of the application. I walk into a school and they'll say, what GPA you need? And I don't know. And I still don't know. And you ask our vice president of enrollment, he'll tell you the same thing because they want to see what kind of classes you're taking, how you're being challenged, did you have a year that was bad and why? Was there like a circumstance that like caused that? So we put a lot in that. The high school coaches we lean on a ton. They'll kind of give us they know Hampden-Sydney, a lot of the coaches in the area, so they'll be like, okay, this kid's a good fit for you. This kid, don't waste your time with this kind of thing. So, you kind of try to do your homework, and then you get them to campus, and that's a big reason why I meet with them all too. So like I can talk to them and see what's important to them, and see if they're going to fit this place because there is kids we've had on campus and. After the visit, we're like, hey, man, this isn't a good fit. We're done recruiting, kind of deal.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and what you're saying, I guess, makes sense. I mean, as far as the Nova part, I mean, the academics here are so rigorous, in Fairfax County and Loudon, that I could see a school like Hampden-Sydney that's going to help out a lot, going to a school like that.
Sure.
All right. So one of the things that we've had a lot of parents kind of asking us about, and I know some of the younger kids. I coached freshmen, going back to freshmen, help out this year. A lot of those moms and dads, they want to know, okay, when should I start? With the social media stuff. When should I start reaching out to some of these coaches? What's your best advice for that for some of the younger, just getting into high school kids?
Yeah, D3 is going to be different than Division I, Division II, and I've only coached D3, so I can't tell you what the other ones like look for. But like right now, if you're 2026, like I got guys DMing me, and I can't even start on you yet. It's like fill out the questionnaire, and sometime in March, we're going to start evaluating March, April. We're going to start evaluating those films, but we're not going to invite those guys to campus, until May, that type of year. We'll have one-offs that guys will, want to visit during their spring break, especially if they go to like a boarding school or somewhere and they're from Virginia and they're back or something like that. But, I would just get ready, towards the end of the spring, if you're looking at D3 schools, because every school is going to be different. Like the deadline for Division III, most schools is May 1st. So a lot of schools aren't going to be done with their recruiting class until May 1st, so it's hard to balance that much volume. Like I have 29s DMing me like, hey, can you watch my film? And it's just like, no, I mean that, because I just don't, it doesn't, like, at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter, but that early. But it's the 26s will start sometime, after our spring break, which is in March. But it's really whenever we get this class done, we'll move on to the next class, and it's just be patient. I mean, the biggest advice, I give guys is don't waste your money traveling all over the country to go to camps. I mean, schools that you're interested in, go see them. If they have a camp, they really want you to come to camp, I guess, go to the camp, type deal. But I always, like, family friends who ask me, I usually tell them, like, when I was in Pittsburgh, I would say, hey, go to either the Pitt or the Duquesne camp, because you're going to see a lot of different schools there, and go visit a couple of the camps that you want to go to. Like, if you're a high academic kid, go to an Ivy League camp, because besides the Ivy League schools, there's going to be a ton of, high academic Division III schools there too as well. So you're going to meet a lot of different people, but I would do 3 max if I were a high school kid.
Good advice. We always talk about this, and kids will ask us, and I'm like, if you're you want to go to a big camp, fine. But like you said, when you were in Pittsburgh, when we're here, would say, go to Virginia Tech, go to one of the local ones, go to William and Mary. But you know what? Don't fly out to Texas. Don't fly out to the big one in Texas. Pay all that money in airfare, like you said, all that stuff. Unless you're a blue chipper, that's a different story. But
sure,
you're just talking about your average Joe. Like, just go to a local camp and see some of the talent, and then you'll figure it out quick. You'll figure it out real quick.
Yeah, like the Georgetown camp's probably a great camp in Northern Virginia, because like we send coaches to it. They're going to get high academic schools that are going to come to that camp, because you got to be a certain type of kid to even be looking at Georgetown. So you're not going to get a 2-2 kid going to go visit Georgetown.
Yeah. Well, and I think as far as camps go, a good piece of advice I'd like to give is, like coming out here, probably if you go to a Maryland camp and you dominate, and you're one of the best ones there, then maybe you got a chance to go somewhere else. But I really think, after you at camp, if you're not one of the top 1% guys there, more than likely you're going to have to look down. And kind of speaking on recruitment now and how this works. So with all the new things that have come out, right, between the portal and now the JUCO doesn't count against eligibility, how has that changed recruiting? I know for D3 it's a little different. I mean, I know those things don't, especially we don't have JUCO football here. But kind of how is that shaking out? Just kind of affecting recruiting overall, and then has it affected you all at the D3 level?
Yeah, I mean, it's affecting us a lot, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of really good high school football players that aren't being recruited right now by bigger schools that were 2 or 3 years ago. And it's making there's a ton of kids out there that will probably not play college football this year that would have in the past. And it sucks. Like, I've never thought I'd be in a situation where I've had to tell a kid, hey, like, we don't have room for you right now.
Wow.
We're very limited in a lot of spots, and we have a bunch of kids committed right now in certain positions. And the reality of this situation is, like, I can't carry X amount of players at certain positions. And we've had to tell kids, like, hey man, like, right now we're not going to offer you a roster spot. And like, I never thought, like, I'd be at a position where, I used to hate it. And Coach Jerry and I used to talk about it all the time, is like the Division III offer. It was stupidest thing ever, in my opinion. Like, what am I offering you? I'm not offering you a scholarship or anything. It was something, someone started doing it, and then you couldn't get kids to visit. Like, W&J, we for a long time, we refused to do it, but then we couldn't get kids to visit unless you offered them. So we had to, probably about 3 years, probably right around COVID, right after COVID, it was a year after COVID. I remember I was talking to Coach Sirianni. I was like, hey, I think we got to start doing this. Like, as much as, like, we don't want to, like, we need to. And but now it's actually like, for us at least, like that offer spot actually means something because we just don't have so many spots. Like we have 153 lockers in our locker room. Like I won't go above 153. So, that really limits us, like what we can bring in and stuff. I could bring in more, but I'm not going to put a kid in their visitor's locker room and, separate them from the team. So, yeah, it's made it really hard because there's so many more high school kids out there, and then there's a ton of kids that are getting cut because of the 105.
Yeah.
And they're trying to transfer in, and it's like, okay, like, you have to sort that whole thing out. So, I mean, there's a ton of really good football players out there that played college football last year that won't be playing college football because they can't get a spot, and it's affecting everyone. And it's hard because it's like roster management at Division III level has just been crazy right now.
So would you say, because I think we spoke to somebody else earlier, another coach earlier, who kind of said you're getting a different caliber kid now because the kid who would have been a project D2 or even a project D1 kid isn't getting the offer anymore because now D1 is going to be recruiting 20-year-olds because they can get a kid who is 20 who either played 2 years of D2 or can get for 4 years. So do you see that happening? Because it seems like the person I talked to earlier said that may be the case, and I've heard other people I've talked to and other things I've read said that lower levels may start getting better athletes because you're not going to take that project anymore because you don't have to. You can now take a kid as
Yeah, I mean, it's 100%. And you're seeing, we have one Division III kid who went the transfer portal because he wants to try to transfer up. I mean, and then you're going to see that. So the cycle's just never, it's never going to stop. I think we got to get through this year. I think college football is going to need to change at some point. I don't know how, but you just kind of have to take it day by day. And for us, like the way we approach is we got to find guys that are the right fit for Hampden-Sydney because we are so unique as a school. I mean, we're one of 2 all-male schools in the country.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, us and Wabash
You
College.
know the country. Wow.
Yeah, us and Wabash are the 2 all-male schools. So we have a lot of advantages to that as well. But we also, you have to find a school that fits us, or a kid that fits us because we're a unique school and, we lead the country in attendance every year in Division III. Like we're very, very different from a lot of places. So at the end of the day, you just try to find the right fit, kid that's the right fit. Yeah. And you just kind of go from there. But I don't know. It's actually kind of stressful because of the roster management side of it because we have a theory like you can't have too many good players. Well, at some point you can, I guess, because you just don't have room for them anymore. Yeah.
So another advice I give kids all the time, and I'm curious on your just because the college talked before is film. My advice always been to kids has been, most coaches won't watch a 5-minute long highlight film. They're just not going to watch. It needs to be pretty short. It needs to be your best plays, not. Because I see kids a lot of times, defensively, they'll put every tackle they had. And I'm like, that's not a highlight. You need to go with the highlight. So if you're giving a high school athlete advice on building their highlight film, what would you tell them to do?
Yeah, I mean, we really don't watch more than 10 clips. If you can't tell in the first 2 minutes if they're good, they're, probably not good. Like the biggest thing, like you see with DBs is like they put all their interceptions on there at the beginning. And some of them were like punts, like, they're so poorly thrown by the quarterback. And it's like, okay, that's not showing me anything. I got to see we recover and different things like that. The new huddle, like we pay for the huddle recruit, and it's nice because we can click through and we can find certain plays. Like the biggest challenge for us is offensive linemen that play in like a wing tee or run heavy scheme. Like we really struggle to find how they pass pro. So that's something, but I would mix it in and like if I'm an offensive lineman, I'd make sure I try to have some run plays and some pass pro plays in, like showing all those different things. If I'm, a DB, like showing me my cover, showing how I fit the run, showing my range. If I'm a quarterback, it's not always throwing the deep ball, right? How am I throwing the ball on time? Different things like that. So just making it balanced at the beginning too. Like running back's pretty easy to make a highlight film because you're either explosive or you're not. But the other positions just kind of like showing all the different things I can do. Like if every catch I catch is a wideouts in the end zone, well, how am I showing you like how am I my yak and how am I with the ball in my hands too? So, but yeah, just being balanced in those first 10 clips, I think is a big thing too. Is you don't want it all like dominant of one skill set.
And I totally agree with it. You were talking about in the beginning of the interview, talking about some of the kids kind of gathering the blessed and honored, right? They're everyone's blessed and honored, and they're kind of gathering the tweets to send out there. Me personally, again, outside looking in, I've always been kind of annoyed by it because I just like put myself sometimes in a college coach situation where if I'm like, we've been talking, I've been talking to little Johnny Nova, and he's he's been telling me I want an offer, I'm gonna come, and the next thing I know, a month later, he's put out 18 different offers, Division III offers, and again, let's just talk Division III apples to apples. And you're just like, all right. I mean, and then now we're getting, it's February, it's March. It's like, what are we doing here? I don't know. Is that something that coaches are annoyed by? As an outsider, I'm annoyed by it.
Yeah, there's kids we won't offer because like you can see like, okay, they're just posting like everything, like a junior college, everything that they get. And we're like, we're just wasting our time, with this. And because like I have a theory, if you're a pain in the ass in the recruiting process, you're going to be a pain in the ass when you get here. And, if like, I don't want to be strung along, if you're not really interested in us, like you're just, we're wasting both our time here. So, yeah, like there's certain kids on Twitter, like, and I know who the kids are, like, because they'll DM me, like, hey, coach, can you watch my film? And I'll be like, fulfill the questionnaire. And then, like, have you had a chance to watch my film? And they just keep, like, and then, like, and they just keep sending, like, the same message. And then when they see us offer someone else, as soon as we do that, I get a DM from that kid. So I know exactly, like, who it is, and they put no effort to, like, hey, can I come to a game? Hey, can I come to campus? Hey, because, like, if we don't ever get you to campus, we never have a chance. Now we get you to campus, we feel like we're going to have a 50% chance of landing that kid. So that's why we really push, because our campus is so unique and it's so beautiful and has so many different things we can offer a kid here. So the big thing is, like, for us is, like, are you seriously interested too is part of the thing as well.
So for a player show you like they're really interested, does it help to not be boilerplate messages to you? Does it help to, like, actually?
Yeah, the boilerplate emails are you can tell right away, because they'll spell like they won't have the right school in there, and then they'll send you it again, or it's just like a canned message type deal, and and you can tell pretty quick. And the emails we don't really respond back to, because a lot of them come from like these recruiting services that charge kids and stuff, and we don't really want to play in those games either. Like, I won't even activate my NCSA account because I don't believe in what it does. If your high school coach can't help you find a school, I mean, you got bigger issues, so, and it's as easy as just filling out a school's questionnaire. Like, you don't need to pay a company to do your recruiting for you. Just fill out the questionnaire. Like, you can do the homework. I mean, there's so many schools out there, you can find them. So, yeah, some of those canned messages, like if a kid DMs me, my first response back to him is usually, hey, fill out the questionnaire link in my bio. And, like, if you just cold message me or you follow me, like, that's usually what I do, because I got to get you in the system so we can get you evaluated. I'm not going to sit there and watch a kid's highlight film on my phone. I mean, it's on a 6-inch screen. Like, what, like, and when I'm on my phone or I'm not in my office, I don't want to be watching film. I got a life outside of football.
Yeah.
It's not very active, but I do.
Oh, that's good. That's a good answer too. As far as I've had call parents years ago talk to me about how much they were paying. I never knew much about the cost of of some of those recruiting services. One was like $5,000, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, one like charged you. I forget the name of it. It used to charge the kids like $100 to send the stuff to each school. So every school was $100. So all they did was send an email to the coach, and they charge you get $100. Well, like, you could just go online and do that. Like,
yeah. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people predatory because people need to pay for college, right? And so you have a lot of parents out there who don't know how to do any of this stuff, and they're desperate because they're trying to help their kid. They don't know
Oh no, that's right, and that's on the high school coaches. Honestly, like Mesa, and I don't mean you and I, because we're perfect, we don't make mistakes, but but a lot of high school coaches don't go over this stuff, and they don't talk to their kids,
Right.
and they don't talk to the parents about that, and that's something that they should do, beginning of each year, in the fall or in the off season, probably, talk about the recruiting process for each year.
Yeah.
All right, so I wanted to ask you this. I wanted to ask you a day in the life at Hampden-Sydney for a football player, in season, and we'll do a day in the life, out of season.
Yeah. So, in season, classes here basically go from 8:30 to 3:30, and they're students, and we're not going to get them out of class or anything like that. So, our off day is Monday. Tuesday, we'll have a 7 a.m. team meeting. Be about 10 minutes. Then we go to special teams, 10 to 15 minutes. Then we split OD, and we're done at 8. So we're unique. We have our own strength coach just for football. And some of that goes because we're an all male school. We don't have some Title IX restrictions that other schools have. So we can hire a strength coach just for football. So they'll lift Tuesday and Thursday with their strength coach. There's like 6 lifting times throughout the day that they go in with them. We start, pre-practice at 4:10. On Tuesday, we're off the field by 6:15. Then they're just whatever they need to do the rest of the day. So they can, homework, eat dinner, all that kind of stuff. Wednesday, same schedule. We don't lift. We're off the field at 6:05. Thursday, they lift. That day, we're off the field at 5:56. Same deal. Friday, we go 3:30 team meeting. As soon as last class over, we're on the field at 4:10 for walkthrough. Play Saturday. Sunday, we do the guys who played in the varsity game will lift from 10 to noon. They'll just roll into the weight room type deal. They'll have a different workout depending on how much they played and how sore they are. Team meeting at noon. We'll play a JV game too, either here or somewhere else. That day we'll practice at 1 to 2 with the guys. It's, we'll kind of get them running a little bit, get them worked out, and then we'll do some like walkthrough stuff, and then they're off for the day. So that's pretty much a during the season type schedule for the guys. Off season, we lift 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesdays they run with their strength coach. So we're in there like 45 minutes to an hour and 15 with them. And again, those are off their class schedules. And the nice thing about having the strength coach is, he's with them all the time. So it allows us as coaches, like if we need to go see a kid recruiting, different things like that, we know we have someone with them all the time. So it really helps us, be able to coach football. And, I always say it's like, the big benefit of having a strength coach like we have, it's like at practice, like our line coach isn't coaching the wideouts during practice, right? If you put me down there, I could run a workout, but I don't know anything about lifting. I think the last time I lifted a weight was like 6 years ago. So, but it's our guys really enjoy it here. I think the Wall Street Journal ranked us as the 10th happiest students in the country. So it's a unique place for sure.
So during the season, what's the expectations as far as film study for the kids? I mean,
we do it in the mornings with the guys in those meetings, and then we'll, with Huddle now, it's great. So we got to send you something throughout the day. We'll send it to you on Huddle, and then they can just pull it up on their phones and stuff like that. The guys that are important to, will take time and do it on their own. The guys that's not usually don't do it, but. We try to be really organized with everything we do. So like we're not wasting time. So we send them actually what we want them to watch. So they're just not watching, film to just watch film. But like I said, like school here is not easy. So we got to make sure they have time to be a student as well. And we have a lot of really smart kids, so that helps.
And I know a lot of high school athletes sometimes don't see the value in the off season. They don't understand how important it is to lift in the off season. I mean, kind of talk about, why, the importance of actually getting that done, especially in the high school setting. I mean, in college setting, it's a little different, but like making sure that they're getting that work in the off season.
Yeah, I mean, you don't practice football to get bigger, stronger, faster. You lift weights and run to get bigger, stronger, faster. So if you're not doing that, you're not getting any better, and you got to develop. And that's what's really important. And it's really important to continue to do that during the season so you don't lose what you gained in the off season. And we put a big emphasis into it. And, we got to get bigger, stronger, faster. I mean, we were 5-5 last year, and we played a lot of freshmen. We started 8 freshmen in our last game. We averaged playing about 16 freshmen a game, and but 18-year-olds against 21 and 22-year-olds are a distinct physical advantage. So we really have to put a big emphasis in the weight room because we're a young football team, but we believe here you got to do 3 things really well. To be successful, you got to recruit at a high level. You got to retain your guys at a high level. But the most important part is you got to develop them at a high level. So we put a lot of resources into the development part. Like we just put in last summer, we put in a brand new nutrition station in our football offices with protein shakes. There's apple juice, there's fruit, there's waters, there's different things in there for them, protein bars, different stuff so they can come and grab after they're done working out. So after they're done working out, they can refuel their bodies and different things like that. So there's like muscle milks and all sorts of stuff in there.
Real quick before we go, anything else about Hampden-Sydney you want to, kind of speak to our audience? You got the big Nova audience here, a lot of parents, a lot of kids.
I mean, the big thing I tell guys all the time is just come check us out. I can't explain it to you till you're here. I mean, it is unique. It's 101. It's the number 1 outdoor school in the country. It's the number 1 most active student government school in the country. It's one of the best fraternity lives in the country. Its athletic program is one of the best in the country. I mean, our basketball team was a national runner-up last year. Our golf team was a national runner-up a few years ago. We average, around 8,000 to 12,000, fans at a home football game. So it's packed, and we had 12,000 at our last game. So we're top 5 in the country in attendance every year for football. I mean, it's important here. It's like I think the Wall Street Journal just ranked us in the top 10 in a bunch of categories. I think we're the number 3 school in the South in that. So, when we, 10th happiest students, we have the number 2 library in the country. So we have a lot of stuff going for us, and you just got to come see it. We have one of the best social lives in the country. And I'll tell you, like the big joke one of our coaches has when he goes into the school is, we're in Farmville, Virginia. It's a lot better than what it sounds. And we're an all-male school. I'm telling you, it's a lot better than what it sounds. We have one of the best social lives. Guys love it here. If you come on a visit, I guarantee you're going to love it. There's not too many times where a guy comes on a visit and they hate it. And it's unique. And I think the thing that makes it, as special as it is the people. And, everyone cares. It's community. Everyone lives on campus. I live on campus. All the professors live on campus. So it's a community. And, they talk about the Hampden-Sydney Brotherhood. I mean, I forgot. I should have led with this. We have the number 3 alumni network in the country. All right. Notre Dame's number 1 and we're number 3. So, when guys leave here, they're set up for life. And, I do think there's I tell guys all the time when I'm, talking to them, I can't sit here and tell you our education is better than any other education because, no matter where you go today, you're going to get a great education. There's a lot of really good schools out there. The guys who are recruiting are really smart. The difference between us and every other school, in my opinion, is there isn't a school out there that prepares young men better for life after graduation than our place. And, you just look at our alumni network and what our guys are doing. And, and I think you see it. And that's the uniqueness of Hampden-Sydney.
Well said. I mean, I had a buddy of mine who, old colleague who played lacrosse there. So I know a little bit about it. I mean, I've never been, and my daughter was looking at, obviously you couldn't get into that school because it's an all male school, but Farmville, another school in Farmville, she was looking at. So I heard Farmville is a pretty cool town, actually, believe it or not. I've actually, that person who was judging it by the name doesn't know what they're talking about because first thing my daughter said was like, she said, downtown Farmville, Dad, you'd like it. It's got restaurants and coffee shops, food and coffee. That's right up my alley. So
yeah. The first 2 college town in the country. So, we're the 10th oldest school in the country, commissioned the same day as the Marines. So, 1775. So it's
fact. That's a good factoids, actually. That's good stuff.
Yeah. So we celebrate 250 years next year.
Wow. Well, Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on, Coach Luvara. Hampden-Sydney just finished year one, and I'm watching you guys, and I was looking at some of the scores, Coach. I mean, you guys had a tough schedule, by the way.
Yeah, it was tough. We played well. I mean, it was up and down. We started off hot, and we got some injuries, and it hurt us a little bit. But that's football. I mean, and
Look at that, because W&J was playing Randolph Macon. I was watching that because of Aiden traveled for that game, and I looked at it, and I mean, you guys held them to, I don't even remember, but I know it was a low scoring game.
Yeah, I was at that game too. But yeah, it was we up and down.
You and them played tough.
Yeah, played a lot of freshmen, and our best player, he's a Northern Virginia kid. He didn't play a snap for us. He tore his ACL during camp, so we'll get him back. Mason Cunningham from Yorktown, so we'll get him back, and that will be big because he's as good as they come, and we lost him during camp, and we had a lot of injuries this year, and it is what it is, but we're really excited. I mean, we played a lot of young guys, and we're excited for their development moving forward. And the ODAC's not easy, so it's not a bad team in the ODAC.
Well, you keep doing your thing, Coach. We appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
All right. Well, we appreciate Coach Luvara for coming out and interviewing with us. I think that was a great interview. I really appreciated the time. And again, like you said earlier, how candid he was with a lot of these topics.
Yeah, no, it was excellent. A lot of good information that I think a lot of people don't know. I mean, he said stuff I didn't know. I mean, he said, I've been coaching a long time and dealing with trying to get kids recruited, and he said a lot of things and his insight and kind of what's going on, and hopefully everyone's takes some things away for it, so that when those who are looking to play at the next level really have something to kind of fall back on.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, like we said earlier, I think parents, student athletes, and coaches, high school and otherwise, would probably get a lot out of that interview. So it's probably, I think I would recommend checking that out if you have time. And if it's as snowy everywhere else as it is here right now, you have time. We all have time right now to kick back, by the fire, maybe roast a few marshmallows and listen to your favorite podcast.
Your favorite award? You always have to call award-winning. You always have to say award-winning.
You're right. Your favorite award-winning podcast. Like we said, you've heard of the Tony Awards. You've heard of the Peabodys. You heard of what we said, that one, the Peace one. What did it was called?
Nobel Peace Prize.
Nobel one, the Nobel Prize. Man, this is nothing. We Nova Legends Podcasting Award. That, to me, is an award, sir.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all she wrote for today, man. And good interview. I'm glad we got it done. And we got so much more coming up for everybody, for our audience. So sit back and relax because we got more coming your way.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Coach Mesa, Coach Dash, thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next time on All Hitches.
See ya.